Hello and welcome to this episode of Orion Update. Today we have a very special episode in advance of Memorial Day for you. You are going to get to meet 6 of the 9 board members that make the Orion Veterans Memorial the amazing place that it is. So you've probably driven by it hundreds of times, if not thousands of times. But at the corner of O'Donnell and M24 sits a very special place, the Orion Veterans Memorial. So today, I'm joined by some members of our board. I have the privilege and pleasure of serving with these fine men who are patriots in my mind. But today we want to talk a little bit. Thanks, first of all, for joining us, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I want to give you all an opportunity to talk about what the memorial means to you and a little bit about the history of the memorial because, as I mentioned, many people that are watching this probably, I'm sure they know where it's at and have seen it and have seen some of our events, but maybe don't understand the blood, and sweat, and tears that has gone into creating what is there today. So first off, let me introduce my special guest today. First, to my immediate right is Bob Watros. He is our park manager. And Bob, how many years have you been serving out at the memorial?
About 16. I started in 2002.
Okay, and Bob,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about yourself and your history and your service to our country.
Well, I was a Navy sailor in the mid-50s, 55 through 58. Had a couple duty stations, but I guess the main one was USS Iowa, which was a battleship. The last one, there will never be any more. Then I was in business here in town for about 30 years, I guess. And then I started in 2002 at the memorial, and we watched it grow from mud to what's up there now.
Okay, and we're going to talk a little about that. We're going to go through introductions first. Thank you, Bob, for what you do. Dr. Joe Master-Mateo, welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your background and your service to our country.
I was in the U.S. Army as a dentist in Korea, 60, 61, and 62 during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Never thought I'd see home again. It was quite serious thing, that missile crisis, which very few people know about today. But anyhow, after that, I set up practice in Lake Orion. Been here ever since. Happy to have done so, and that brings you up to date.
That's great. And Dr. Joe has worked on many mouths, maybe even this one here in his dentist practice in town. And then finally, Jim Hubbard, thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit about you and your service to our country.
I served in Vietnam, 1960, basically 65 through 67. Was wounded in 67. Came back and came to this community shortly after I returned because I wanted to be just a little ways from the farm, so I wasn't drug in to go back to the farm. And I worked here locally as a land surveyor for 2 different companies in the 45 years that I practiced, and I enjoyed the community. Been here, I think, like 51 years now, and yeah, I've enjoyed every minute of it, especially working and helping it around the memorial.
Great. Thank you so much again, gentlemen, for your service and for fighting for our freedom and standing up for what's right. So there's something about Orion Township and Lake Orion that's different, in my opinion. I think you might agree. There's a pride that I think that we carry, and that just carries through to what has been created at O'Donnell and Lapeer Road, or between Heights and O'Donnell there. Dr. Joe, talk a little bit about how the memorial came to be.
It started through the Orion Area Chamber of Commerce in 1993, September. I was a member of the board of directors, and they needed a beautification chairman, and I had a different idea, but that's how it took root, and the rest is history. Behind dozens of volunteers in the community, they really showed their patriotism loud and strong, and we have what we have today because of that, and that still goes on. And I have a great feeling of satisfaction, and as everybody should, to see this outpouring of patriotism, hard work, and the result is what we have.
So talk a little bit, thank you, and it's remarkable, and just in the 20 years I've lived in the community, I've seen it grow from, as you mentioned, from dirt to what it is today. And in the 7 years I've had the privilege of serving on this board, got to work on a lot of great projects, from the center monument to the Peacoat Memorial to the most recent edition. Bob, talk. What's our most recent edition out there?
Well, I guess that would be our war dog.
Right. Yeah.
And that's been 2 years ago. I think this last August. It's been pretty popular. We didn't want. It's in the parking lot because we didn't want to take away from nothing on the inside. And it still means a lot. And them dogs standing on the sandbags is pretty impressive, I think.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
What would you say, Jim? What is your, if you had to pick, what's your favorite aspect of the memorial? Is there a favorite piece that you personally have?
Yes, there is. I worked on the Forgotten Heroes Monument, and that's the rifle standing with the helmet. That means a lot to the younger generation, the Iraqi war. I watched that on TV. They lost a young man when they were out on patrol. They came back and they had that memorial, his boots with the rifle with his helmet, and the boys were all crying that were out on patrol. They lost one of their best friends, and I thought, boy, we should have something like that on our memorial. That would tie in the younger generation a lot. It happened during the Vietnam War, but very seldom. But that touched a nerve, and I went out and with the help of Dr. Masuteo and a few others, we stepped forward and went out on faith too, that we could raise enough money to do it. And it just, within just a few months, we had all the money, and the process just went so quick, and it was a wonderful. That monument to me means a lot, especially the day that the big crane lifted it off the truck and swung it over and set it on that foundation. That was a great day for the memorial.
Yeah, it's very cool. Doc, talk a little bit about. We have groups that come from all over. Talk just about the draw that our memorial has.
We've had people from Rochester area, Pontiac, and Detroit. They were busing. The senior citizens have often come in a bus. They've heard about us, and they're happy to be there, and they are just ecstatic over what they see. And
what would, okay, so I'll ask you the same question. What would be your favorite? Do you have a personal favorite piece of the memorial?
I have to say
event.
I have to say the main monument. It took us years to not only argue and disagree and re-agree, but it took us years to come to that solution. The Army wanted a tank, and rightfully so. The Navy wanted a ship, rightfully so. The Air Force wanted an airplane. But then, fortunately, we didn't have enough money to do any of those because we had so many other things going. As time went on, we all began to realize the most important thing in all of this is our family. Our family. So we wanted to erect some kind of a memorial that gave that idea. And what better than the father and the mother around their son, with his little sister around his waist, the mother hugging the son, not knowing if the son has just arrived or coming back. If he's going, then it's tears of sorrow. If he's returning, then it's tears of happiness.
Right. Very, very neat. All right, Bob, I'll ask you the same question. One thing you should know about Bob is he's not only a member of our board and the park manager, but if you drive by the memorial, you will see this man. I saw you this morning out there.
Yeah.
Sorry I didn't stop.
No.
Talk about, so your role out there is he just donates so much of his time just to making sure that it is a place of reverence and beauty. But what would do you have a favorite piece or a favorite event that's happened out there?
I guess my favorite piece would be the wall back of the Peacoat. Every time you look at that wall, you see that wall different. Them crosses sometimes are straight, sometimes they're at an angle. The two servicemen up there, you don't see their face, but you see the back of their head, and they're saluting. And you just wonder, why don't we all do that? Why do we have to be told that we should do that? They do it because it's their duty,
Right.
But I think, can I just add one thing?
Absolutely.
To make it all worthwhile, and I think it would be for all of us, would be have a visitor come, stand there with tears in their eyes. And we've got a number of them that do that, makes it all worthwhile.
I agree, and I'll tell you, the most impactful moment that I've had at the memorial was when Trevor Blaylock,
Yep.
Yeah.
tragically passed
Yep.
in a training incident over the Gulf of Mexico. And his family lives local. He grew up here, and when we lined the streets,
Amen.
there were people that stood from I-75 by the Palace
Wow.
all the way to Lake Orion United Methodist, downtown Lake Orion. But in front of the memorial was the most dense
Yeah.
population of people. And just to see with people saluting or just standing in reverence,
Yep.
I get chills when I even just talk about it right now because it was just such a moment. And if you remember, his family was very leery about bringing attention to the entire process of his burial, and we wanted to respect that. But people were calling Doc's office, calling our office, saying we want to show the family some support. So we came up with this idea of just letting them know the procession would be coming by, and people showed up, and we had American flags and everywhere. It was just really special. And then the one piece I want to highlight before we move to our next segment is just all of this has been done with I almost want to say zero taxpayer dollars, but that might not be 100% accurate, but very little, if any, taxpayer dollars. How have we paid for all these things?
It was 0% from government.
Right.
This is a community effort, and we've struggled, and we finally got the job done. The Township of Orion was good enough to lease us the property, but other than that, it was all done by volunteer donations.
First of all, I just want to thank you, gentlemen, for what you do. I'm going to our next segment, we're going to bring up two other board members so the public can meet these volunteers, because you all make $0 to make sure that we have an amazing memorial out there. So thank you for what you do. So stay tuned for our next segment. We'll be right back, where we can you'll hear a little bit more about the memorial and some amazing events that we have annually, and an exciting one you don't want to miss coming up. So we'll be right back.
Find new treasures or sell a few of your own during Orion Township's Community Yard Sale on Saturday, June 1st, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Orion Center. Dozens of sellers will be set up in the parking lot offering clothes, knickknacks, home decor, and a whole lot more. While that is going on outdoors, vendors will be inside the Orion Center for the Toy and Comic Expo and Antique Market. That's right, 3 events will all be going on at the same time. That's the Community Yard Sale, Toy and Comic Expo, and Antique Market at the Orion Center on Saturday, June 1st from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Parking and admission is free. To get involved or for more information, call 248-391-0304, extension 3500, or visit orionparks.com today.
Hello and welcome back to this episode of Orion Update, all things Orion Veterans Memorial. Thanks again for joining us. And for this segment, I'm joined with 2 new faces you haven't seen yet, but I'm sure if you are from this area, you have definitely seen these folks before. I'm joined by 2 more of our board members, Joanne Van Tassel and Mike Flood. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
And I should say, and I didn't mention in the first segment, but Dr. Mastromateo is the chair of our board and has been the chair since the start of the memorial. So thanks for being here, guys. So let's talk a little bit. We understand a little bit about the memorial. Tell us a little bit, Joanne, about some of the events that people could participate in on an annual basis.
For years, Memorial Day has been the most important event for many people here in the Orion area. It starts at 9 o'clock in the morning out at East Lawn Cemetery on Orion Road, when people go out and put flags on the grave of every single veteran there in that cemetery. And it is a ceremony done with solemnity to honor the vets, their service to the country, and just a way of recognizing them and all that they have given. Then at 10 o'clock, people gather at Children's Park, where Paint Creek runs right through the middle, and a wreath is placed on the creek and let to float downstream. And this is in memory of all those who have served, who have died and are buried or were killed at sea. Then at 11 o'clock, we have the parade. And people just line the streets, and they start coming early to get the favorite spot, so they got the best viewing place. Each year, there has been in recent years a veteran selected as Veteran of the Year. And so when the person who is riding in that old-fashioned police car, when they gets to the intersection of Broadway and Flint, Jerry Narsha, the police chief, gets out, introduces the Veteran of the Year, tells a little bit about them, and so on. So, there's special recognition given. Then the parade continues. And then at 1 o'clock, everybody comes down to the Veterans Memorial, and it's joined by lots and lots of other people. I mean, it's beyond standing room only. I mean, it is a real tribute. And we have a very moving ceremony with the posting of the colors, the Pledge of Allegiance, the Star-Spangled Banner, recognition of our veterans, a keynote address. We have somebody leading in patriotic songs such as America the Beautiful and God Bless America. And at the end, you have a 21-gun salute, the playing of taps, and then the retiring of the colors. And so it is a proud event, somewhat of a solemn event, but I think everybody goes away being proud to be an American, being proud to be an Orionite, and it just kind of sets the tone for the whole summer here in the Orion area.
Yeah, it sure does. And you did a great job kind of summarizing the day, where there's one more piece of that day we're going to talk about in a few minutes that we're hoping you'll be a part of, and that's a new 5K run we've instituted to try to get the whole family involved. But a lot of times when people think Memorial Day, they think that's the day I take the cover off my grill, I put my boat in the water. And what we're sort of asking our residents is to think about, maybe before you do all those things, which we want you to do, because we're living as a vacation, but to spend a couple hours remembering the people that are giving you that opportunity to float on your boat or grill hamburgers in your backyard. And so we're asking you to join us and pay respects to the people that have given us these opportunities. So thank you for sharing that. One other thing I'll tell you right now, and I'll tell you at the end, is we have a brand new, beautiful, updated website. So all of the things that Joanne just mentioned, and all the events that we do year-round, plus an opportunity for you to give, you can find on our new improved website. And we want to give a special thanks to Brian Penz, who's one of our other board members who's not part of the taping today. And while we're on that note, retired Fire Chief Bob Smith is our other board member, and then Mike Sweeney, who's been an extremely involved Orion resident for many years. That rounds out the 9. But I'm going to throw it to Mike for a minute, because Mike, your family's been longtime supporters of the memorial. And if you have driven by any of our events and seen the huge flag that hangs over Lapeer Road during events, that's thanks 100% to the Flood family for donating that. But talk about how your family's been involved and how some other residents might be able to support our memorial.
Chris, the main function on getting money for our memorial support is through the brick engraving donations. There's probably room for 1,000 names in that facility. And myself and my family are proud to have my dad's brick there. He served in World War II in the Merchant Marines. And then I have an uncle who served in the Army. We had his brick put right beside it, which is nice. You can have the family bricks all put together. And there's many, many bricks of all family and friends that I know through living here whose names are in there. And that brings back a lot of good memories. And one special part I like about, you guys were talking about the monuments earlier, was that on the center ring you have a brass plate of our local boys that were killed in different wars. And Ray Welpley was a neighborhood kid I grew up with. And he was also our youth leader at the church. And when Ray got drafted into Vietnam, he wasn't even over there a year, and he tragically lost his life. He was about 19 years old. And I still have contact with his sister. And so that's all inspiring to see something like that in our own home community, giving recognition to our great men and women who served in our country. So bricks are always on sale, and we do a lot of donations too with canisters. But if you've never been to the memorial, take 5 minutes out of your life and just walk in there, and you'll walk away with a heart of patriotism.
Absolutely, and our new website is mobile device friendly, so when you're out there, if you know someone with their name on a brick, I mentioned Trevor Blaylock, you mentioned your family, but you can just pull their names up and find out exactly where that brick is located. Well, if you just stay tuned, when we come back, we'll end our episode today with an amazing event that's in its 3rd year this year, and a great opportunity for you and your family to get involved this Memorial Day, May 27th. We'll be right back.
Runners and walkers are invited to take part in the 23rd running of Orion Township's annual Dragon Dash, scheduled to take place on Sunday, May 19th. The 5K course begins at the Orion Center, with participants traveling along the Pollyant Trail to Civic Center Park, before turning around and coming back to the finish line at the Orion Center. Awards will be presented to the top overall male and female participants, as well as runners in a variety of age divisions. Registration opens at 7:30 a.m. with the race starting at 9 a.m. sharp. Take part in this long-time tradition and register by visiting orionparks.com. For more information, call 248-391-0304, extension 3500.
Hey, welcome back to our episode of Orion Update, focusing on our Orion Veterans Memorial. I'm back, and we're going to close this episode by talking about one of the new or amazing events that's happening at our memorial, and that is our Veterans Memorial Day 5K. It's happening on Memorial Day, May 27th. I'm joined by Jenny Body, who gets the pleasure of working with me. No comment.
I'm still here.
We have the opportunity to work together, and if you have been around Township Hall or just around the township, I'm sure you've run into Jenny. One of the big projects she worked on last year was our Kaboom Playground grant. We built the playground out at Friendship, Camp Agawam. Man, all our parks are blending in my mind. And Jenny spearheaded that, so she does a great job. And this is kind of one of her projects she's been working on, and you can see the sign. So talk a little bit about the race, how did it come to be, and what can people expect?
So this is our 3rd year with it. We have some new signs, so you'll probably see those around town. We have a new route and a new time this year. So we are starting at 9 a.m. We're starting on Anderson Street next to kind of Children's Park and the new fire station down there. So we're very excited. We're going to go down a portion of the Paint Creek Trail as well. So
very cool. No, that's great. So who can participate? Do you have to be an avid runner?
anybody. So we're looking for runners, walkers. If you want to jump or hop or skip the whole way through, we encourage anybody to come out and join us. It's very family friendly.
If you sign up quickly, there are T-shirts available.
There are T-shirts available.
And what's the cost? What does it cost to participate?
It's $25. And 100% of the proceeds go to the long-term sustainability of the Veterans Memorial, which is amazing.
It's really cool. So what we're trying to do is encourage people, families, runners, non-runners, walkers. Hey, we changed the time because we did hear from the last couple years that when we did it midday, it was really, really hot.
Very hot.
As luck would have it. It's always warm in Orion. But it was kind of eating into people's events for the rest of the day. So we moved the time up based on your feedback. 9 a.m.
Yep, 9 a.m. As soon as they're done, they can actually head right downtown and get their spot for the parade. So it's perfect.
Perfect. And then you can do all those events that Joanne told us about. How do people sign up?
So go to oriontownship.org. We have a link right on there. We have some Facebook posts as well too, and an event page there. We're
encouraging fun, laughter, patriotism. Wear your red, white, and blue. We have little flags that we've given out in the past. We're hopeful we'll be able to do that again this year, that you can run with a flag in memory of someone or just because you're an American. So May 27th, 9 a.m., you'll be meeting right by our new fire station, right by Children's Park, is the start of the race. More information is available on our website and the sign up. We'd love to have you join us. Anything else you want to share?
I'll say another really cool thing is that the medal for it is a dog tag. So that's a unique medal to have.
Very cool. Yeah, everybody that runs these 5K races, there's always some sort of participation award. Ours is a dog tag. So check it out. We'd love to have you join us. Thank you, Jenny, for spearheading this really cool, now new annual event to our town. And I want to thank you for taking the opportunity to take time out of your schedule to watch this episode of Orion Update. We're so lucky to have a memorial like we have right here in our town. We hope you'll come visit it. Maybe you'll even consider supporting it, buying a brick, or joining us out there for one of our ceremonies. So thanks, everyone, and I will see you at the memorial.